I feel in the face of all the problems in the world impotent, and why I somehow cannot manage to transform I. Now here we get to the real problem, because we're always telling each other that we should be different. Now I'm not going to tell you that tonight. Why not? Because I know you can't. Nor can I. That may sound depressing, but I'll show you it isn't. It's very hard. But everybody, you see, who is at all sensitive and awake to their own problems and human problems is trying to change himself. We know we can't change the world unless we change ourselves. So when we are aware of the ego I, we are aware of this chronic tension inside ourselves. And that's not us. It's a futile tension. So when we get the illusion, the image of ourselves, married to a futile tension, you've got an illusion married to a futility. And then you wonder why I can't do anything.
Good morning. Welcome to today's live stream. So it's finally happened. We have our UTAD, our upward thrust, if you are familiar with Wyckoff terminology. So with this beautiful piece of information in mind, let's record this trading view idea. Mwah. So what I think is really interesting about this chart is we're actually not even getting expansion of our volatility overhead quite yet. And that makes me hesitant to actually believe we have sustainable trends so far, right? Because if we aren't expanding our volatility overhead, well, then if we're not expanding our volatility overhead, then it's not trending above the required pivots for sustainable trend. Or rather, we aren't getting enough force to actually push price up beyond those important values. So, another key point here is we are still tagging the 3.2 standard deviation. However, that doesn't mean too much when it's at a place of significant compression, right? Because since it's so compressed, we aren't really inclined to believe it's going to be act as hard of a, well, hard pivot, right? Because if you tag the 3.2 from a state of compression, well, all it means is you are entering a state of expansion, and that's not particularly useful information as far as extreme values go, right? It's kind of like how on the daily Bitcoin chart, everybody was up in arms about how incredibly oversold Bitcoin was over here in late November. Wow, right? Well, it's not that it was oversold. It was the lowest value we had on pretty much any of our CCI periods all year. But it doesn't actually mean it's oversold. It just means that everything was super compressed. And if things are super compressed and they start reaching extreme values, that implies trend. So with that in mind, yeah, we do have some slight trend implications here. I am going to be honest. At least, but there are only trend implications on these really short time frames. Like, let's look at the 1 hour. I think that might be our best bet for just looking at how extreme these values might be. Yeah, like in comparison to what we just looked in December, the sustainability of the trend is not comparable, right? And one important note is we are tagging our long-term mean reversion pivot. If I recall correctly, should be 1730 here on the 4 hour chart, as defined by the 3D wave PM. All right, and this was our long-term mean reversion target, and well, we pretty much went for it real quick. And target was hit. We had high price volatility directly on the pivot, and now the apparent upward break. And let's draw this price structure because I know everyone else is doing it, and I want to address it. And I also need your opinion if I should sell BCPT right now. I have mixed feelings on that chart. So let's draw on these trend lines. All right, we have the ascending triangle with the little fake out that pops up above right here. A lot of people went long there, a lot of people stopped out. And secondarily, we have this upward slope right here. So what happens when you have a nice tight range and it breaks to the upside? Oh, it's a breakout. Everybody's hip hoo hurrah about this little bit of green. So it's cool and all, but what we really need to do is take a look at our institutional macro level benchmarks. That's a mouthful. So on the 4 hour chart, the weekly 50 MA is the 2100 MA. So we're going to change this value once again. 2100. Nice. Super. Okay. Ooh. Look at this. Big old choppy move right on top of the MA itself. I want to look at something. Because I have an idea. Let's just retrace and look back at all the previous times we tested this value. Yeah? Because I want to see how it generally reacts directly on the pivot. So we're just going to follow it back in time. Back through September. There it is. Nice. So last time we tested the weekly 50 MA from below, well, we had the same kind of insane choppy price action directly on top of the MA with us popping extremes. Why? Well, because there's large amounts of conflicting order flow directly on top of the pivot. And if that's the case, then, well, it just turns itself into lateral chop. And we can actually look at it back here as well. This was pretty interesting. Where we initially test down, find support on the value, we get a bunch of that conflicting order flow. We dip down, and actually we retested it from below several times with a fake breakout above. Now, hell, that looks like a head and shoulders, doesn't it? Before the final full rejection down to the previous, well, weekly 200 moving average? No, it wasn't quite there yet. But defining the initial support of the bear market. Anyway, my point is, this has been a very well-respected pivot, yeah? Let's take a look at it on the daily. So, and if we're going to do it on the daily, we're also going to look at the BLX chart, just so we can compare it to previous crash patterns. Okay, guess what value we're setting this to? What's 50 times 7? It's 350. Nice. Okay. Yeah, it does a really good job of actually defining where the buyer market is, where we have like these initial tests, and then we break below it, and then we retest it from below, sustain down to the weekly 200 moving average, and then we run up, we test the weekly 50 moving average, and then finally, when we actually sustain above the weekly 50, well, that's how we define trend. And I think one important note here is taking a look at 96 bars. So 3 months. Yeah, I'm not really predicting that we're going to get the start of our new bull run for another 3 months. And why might that be? Well, because I expect us to reject from this value and see ourselves have the nice creek down, retesting the weekly 200, and then eventually let's draw out 3 months. 90 bars. Come on. Wow, that's farther than I thought. So we're gonna get a slow trickle all the way down to here, mid-July. And after we test that mid-July value, 50 MA is going to trace its way down. And then we're going to see that nice upward volatility pop above the 50 MA, which, well, in turn, will start the next bull run. So really, my only true condition for having a bull run here on Bitcoin is a sustained move above the weekly 50 moving average. And if it happens now, cool. I will stop out of my position and potentially switch to some longs, depending on how long we can actually maintain this expansion. Another important thing we need to do is take a look at our longest overexpanded period for this relative move. And again, it's kind of interesting. Our mean reversion pivot has not changed. On the 1 hour, it's actually 1050. So we're going to load up that value just to see how well respected it is. Wow, Jesus. Okay, 1050. You're gonna like this, okay? So this is mean reversion pivot, defined trend rather neatly for us, like insanely well, right? As long as we are above the week or this beautiful pivot right here, right? It defined us in an upward trend, and we've seen this pattern a few times previously, and that's where I'm actually getting this whole fake out spiel, if you will. I'm trying to think of how recent it is. Okay, yeah. So where we have, the same structure of local highs, like so, right? Where we have this compressing range defined by mean reversion pivots. And then we have volatility pop to the upside before a subsequent dump, right? It's really frequent. And there is a previous example of this. It got pretty ridiculous after a while. Like, this is the example I was initially thinking of, where we have the obvious flagpole, the obvious compressing range, with a significant volatility pop to the upside where we tag extreme values and imply trend, but we do not expand above the volatility overhead. Do you see this? Do you notice how this period of mass cannot make it up above the compressing volatility overhead? Goodness. So this overexpansion, well, it fails, and then it fakes everybody out, right? Where we have these flagpoles, flag, breakout, apparent trend continuation, and then it just fakes out and everybody cries manipulation. Okay. Oh, look at, this is even better. Then we have a huge red flagpole, a flag. Oh, it broke down. We're getting downward trend continuation. We're gonna go down. Nope. Sorry, we break up and resume uptrend. Like, I don't know why this time would be any different when we're sitting directly on top of a major institutional benchmark. Right, that's why I'm so hard set on the rejection from this weekly 50 MA value. So, I guess we gotta sit tight. And one interesting thing we can do, what was it? It's 300 or like 279, if my math is right, down here, and then weekly 50 would be 350. Okay, I did not do what I wanted. Anyway. It'd be easier on the 1 hour because the resolution's higher. Well, what we can actually do is define our new trend pivots, and if you want to wait for bearish confirmation to short, I'm going to show you how. Right now, longest overextended period's 110 on the 4 hour chart. So, yeah, cool. If we re-enter the 110 band, and that value is likely to expand to even higher values if trend continues, so do keep in mind that this is not a hard set pivot. But if we re-enter this band down here, well, we will trend down to the 50 mean and potentially lower. So, very excited to see how this plays out. It has been a pleasure training you folks. Have a beautiful day. Very nice. So, what I think is really interesting about this chart is we're actually... Stop it. Okay. What do we have here? Any new comments? You won't say it will break 5,800 first? I feel like we might get a weird volatility pop a touch higher, but I don't know. There's a lot of confluence of resistance around this value. We'll see what happens. I still have a ridiculously high liquidation value, so very confident the bull run isn't going to start at this location, so buckle up. We'll see what happens. BNB it is. Get your altcoin questions in, guys. I'll be happy to take a look for you. BNB BTC. Yeah, that recommendation to short would have turned out really well for you. Do we call the high? Yeah, because we're tagging with like the 3.2 on I think the weekly chart, right? I don't know. It looks like distribution to me. I'm going to be honest. I'm probably going to guess the following. We're likely to retest previous lows down here. And then retest previous highs up here. So probably something like this. And then, well, just distribution and then downtrend. Or trend continuation. Who knows? That's really all I have to say about BNB. GBP USD. Hello, Pen. How are you doing today? Like this. You already know what I think about this, Pen. I mean, you should know what to think about this. Hell, look at that breakout. That's great. That really implies downward trend. I don't know. I would short that. All right, where we have all this simultaneous compression. You see how everything just tightens up in this range, and now we're having that significant breakout, and now every single period is accelerating in the same direction? Yeah, that's good. I'd short that. It implies trend continuation, really. Let's see how it goes. Just try to run the swing high and take a short. With the FUSD, I think we were in a mean reversion pivot, but I need to check. Wow, did FBTC dump? I need to look at FBTC first, I'm gonna be honest. Or I could just do it side by side, huh? Definitely. Right, my opinion has been that we had implied downtrend on FBTC, but implied uptrend on FUSD. So probably just expecting, yeah. Like, yeah, I do think we're close to a market bottom on FUSD, but FBTC is in an active downtrend, so I don't want to play with it at all. Short EDA. Okay, we'll check it out. You've been on that calling card for quite a few days, so woo-wee. Yeah, you've got some serious trend continuation there, man. Let's just do it on the daily. If I recall correctly, you said 140. It's actually 160. Yeah, dude. You did the right thing. You had to retest the previous swing high values, and now you're getting trend continuation. And your target is still another 9% away. Good work. Looks great, man. Good work. What do I think of XRP BTC? It's a significant sustained downtrend that's actively accelerating, and mass is continuing to be generated, and we're not near any extreme values. And yep, it's a downtrend. I really like to bet against downtrends in a bear market. I feel like that I shouldn't need to say that all the time, but I do. It's a downtrend in a bear market, and you don't want to take a long until we see active signs of reversal. And really, swing highs in a downtrend, you don't claim that there's going to be a reversal, you simply look to short entry into the downtrend, right? Okay, get your final requests in. Look at BCPT for my own self-interest. Hell, it's quite the wick. Hopefully with this gets trend continuation. I woke up around this candle. Not that candle. This candle. I thought, we'll just let it run, see what happens. I've been bag holding this for like over a month, so maybe I'll just hold it. Who knows? Kind of tired of exiting trends preemptively, and this looks, good. We had the positive wave PM cross. We still have some nice upward slope. I might just let it run. Since I'm still mostly tether, BNB did save my portfolio quite a bit. I think my portfolio's down, let me do the math, over the last month. How far am I down taking my own calls this month? Well, since I was in like 70% tether for most of the month, and we had that huge pump, we were at 2 point. Yeah, I'm just down over a little 10%. Might try to get trend continuation at MCL. I'll set an alert for it. Check the comments one last time. Nano BTC, great choice. Hopefully we get a new swing low here. Yeah, it's kind of hard to call. Wow, no, swing high. Okay. That's 17%. Shoot. I never got my re-entry. Should have called it. Okay. I don't know, man. It's a sustained trend. You actually have a positive wave PM cross here. Might actually break out. But I don't think this is a really good entry place. Okay, I'm gonna check the Discord for comments in the live stream questions. Litecoin short soon, BNB knife catching. We're gonna check BNB. I don't think we should catch knives just yet. We're gonna check out Litecoin and I'll be on my way. Oh, yeah, you're right. We should short this. Ooh, yeah. Totally. We're totally gonna short this. Let's set some swing high alerts. I want to try entering this. I'm gonna have to send some more money to my leverage account to actually short this. But when I see the short signal for this, I am going to call it because this is good. Trend is no longer implied. Like, we've crossed our mean reversion pivot, and now we're mean reverting. We have, let's see how much downside we have. Almost 20%. Assuming we go there in one candle, of course. It's probably going to end up being closer to like 15%, but hey, man, it's a good chart. Alrighty, folks. This has been a wonderful live stream. Don't get faked out by Bitcoin. Be safe. I'll see y'all tomorrow, same time, 1 p.m.